She became frustrated holding Ben. She threw him to the floor.
You said you threw this baby down hard. Yeah. Did you, Melissa?
I did not. I didn't throw him. They were putting the words in my mouth, so.
But you didn't have to say it,
I didn't. But see, they wanted me to say that so that we could all go home.
What would you say to George Falenko if you saw him?
He made a mistake.
The video features an interview with a daycare employee who faced accusations regarding the tragic death of a toddler. Amy and Andy Kingen, like many parents, wanted a reputable daycare for their toddler son, Ben, and his twin sister. They believed they had found the right place in Manise-Soubé, managed by Judith Katz. The caregivers appeared attentive, and the children followed a structured routine that kept them engaged during the day and ensured better sleep at night. On a seemingly ordinary day, January 14, 2009, they dropped off their children as usual. Despite Ben having been unwell a couple of days earlier, he appeared fine after receiving some treatment for his upset stomach. None of the daycare staff noticed anything out of the ordinary, and Ben engaged in play and snacks as usual. In the afternoon, Melissa Kalasinski observed Ben dozing off in his chair, something that had happened occasionally over the past year. When she tried to awaken him, she noticed his unusually pale skin. Alarmed, she called out to him, her cries audible when she saw orange foam coming from his nose. Kalasinski's sister, who was also a co-worker, rushed into the room and initiated CPR, but unfortunately, there was no response. Days later, still deeply affected by the incident, Kalasinski was shocked to learn that Ben had supposedly passed away due to severe head trauma, and she found herself identified as the primary suspect.
Let's, why don't we go back to, was it Wednesday when this all happened? In general, what I like to, now you've had a couple of days to sort of relax and, kind of think things maybe are a little clearer on what happened that day. We find out sometimes that after a day or two of people just getting themselves together, that's a pretty traumatic experience. They tend to start remembering a little more fact, a little more detail of what occurred. And the way I usually like to do this is I like to start out from the beginning of that day. Let's say, you got up.
Yeah.
And you got yourself, ready for work? Ready for work. About what time was that?
I left at like 6:50.
So this was Wednesday morning, about 6:50. And you drive yourself into work?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead. Just go through your day.
Well, I didn't get there till like 8:20. Mm-hmm. That's when I clocked in.
And who was there when you got there?
Wendy. She's the head teacher.
Okay.
And a few other staff, along with my sister, Crystal.
Who were the other staff?
I believe it was, her name was, the other one, I think it was Wendy with a W.
Okay.
And then Kristen. These were other staff that were with that, because our kids before in the morning, because we keep them all in one room. Okay. They were in the baby room, and then when we had like 13, we split them in half and then bring my kids with Wendy into our room.
Okay.
So, and when I got there, that's when we split them in half.
Is that like a required number? You can only have so many kids in a room?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the maximum amount of kids?
For right now, for the toddlers, the infants, it would be like a ratio of 4 for one teacher.
Okay, 4. But you can have 8 to 12 if you have, let's say, 3 teachers in one room?
Yeah, okay. Up to 12 you can have 3 teachers.
Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead. So you got there, these were the people there, you got there about 8:20.
And then I helped get my kids into the room with Wendy,
mm-hmm.
And everything was perfect.
How many kids?
There was 8 in my room.
8 kids, today. So it was you and Wendy.
Yeah.
All right, and 8 children, mm-hmm. including, what's the child's name? Ben. All right, go ahead.
And when
what time? I'm sorry. What time do you think you got in there with the kids, with your group?
About like 8:30.
8:30.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
And she was finishing up, and then I started writing down what they had for breakfast.
Wendy was finishing up.
Yeah, she was finishing up trying to get the rest of the kids and get everything together, bring in diapers and everything that we had in the other classroom, that kids that weren't changed,
Okay.
that we would change them in our room.
So Gwendy would leave, come back with diaper, or came back with diapers.
Yeah,
so she
and
was
I
gone.
had help with my sister also. We
So
had
you-
help with other teachers bringing the kids in.
Okay, but you were with the kids the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would write on their clipboard, because they have a daily sheet that for what they had for lunch, breakfast, and snack, and all that. And I was just writing that down, and what they had for breakfast, and then.
So when you get in there, at 8:30, do they have breakfast immediately?
They have breakfast before I even get there.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then you record what they had for breakfast.
Yeah,
So
we
you're
write it
good.
on a piece of
Gotcha.
paper.
Okay. Is that another requirement?
For what.
Or do you guys just kind of keep tabs or?
We keep, yeah, instead of taking off their daily sheets, it's so much easier just to write it on a sheet of paper of what they ate and what time they were changed instead of writing them all on
Okay.
the sheets.
Okay.
So. And I did that, and then when we write down their times too, and then after I was done with that, I finished doing the diapers for whichever kid got in late, child. I would do the diapers, write that down, and then wash, do the routine. We had to wash their hands right after diaper.
And you do this all in the same room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kalusinski recounts the events of that morning, providing a detailed timeline of her actions. Her recall is aided by the structured routine she follows daily, eliminating the need to rely solely on memory for accuracy.
And there would be another teacher. Gwendy was there when I was changing.
Mm-hmm.
So we would, one would change, and then one would keep an eye on the kids, of course. So after that, we were playing with the kids.
What time is that now?
Around like 8:40.
Okay. Any of the kids?
We didn't notice anything at all. Everyone was happy playing.
Okay.
There was no sign of change.
Nobody was crying. Nobody. Just not talking
Yeah.
Ben, but anybody.
Nobody.
No issues. Okay. Nobody getting out of hand or.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And is this usually the same group of kids?
Yeah.
All the time?
Mhm.
So you always have the same
Yeah.
4 to 8?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And everything was going fine. And then once around like 9 o'clock, 9:15, we start doing early breaks for the ones that came in early. Because Gwendy, she comes in the mornings at like 6:30, 6:45 to open.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes on break at like 9:15. And then I have, there's another teacher that comes in there with me that helps me out and everything while she's on break. So another certified teacher would come in.
So did Gwendy take her break that morning?
Yeah,
Does she do it at the same time every time?
yeah.
What time was that?
Her breaks are at 9.
So she took a break at 9?
Yeah.
Okay. And who came in at 9 o'clock?
It was either a teacher, her name was Nancy. She's here Monday through Wednesday.
So Nancy was there Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. So Nancy came in for the break?
Yeah.
And how long was Nancy in there?
An hour.
Okay. And she would, well, it's a long break.
Yeah, we take an hour of breaks because she leaves. We work an actual 10-hour shift.
And you were there the whole time with Nancy too? Okay. All right. So then you get the hour break, and so now we're at 9 o'clock. Or I'm sorry, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Gwendy comes back,
Okay.
and then Nancy, she goes into another room to break in the infant room.
Gotcha.
It was like back and forth.
Okay. So now, all right, 10 o'clock. What happens after 10 o'clock?
What me and Gwendy try doing now, we try doing like group time, read the kids some books, and discuss and go along with our lesson plan.
Okay. Do you have a written lesson
Yeah.
plan? Do you submit that to, is it something that you just hold on to, or is it something you
Oh,
submit?
we just put it on our board. On the
Oh,
wall.
okay, I see. So you just write it like up on a dry erase board.
No, we write them out on a sheet of paper. They give us like papers. So
Okay.
we have to do 2 separate ones because we still have 2 infants.
Okay. Okay, so now you got a lesson plan, and you guys start reading to the
We
kids.
start reading.
And there's still nothing unusual, nothing, okay.
They sit and listen, and then usually we try and read to them for like 5 minutes. They're still really young, so
Right,
they're
attention
really.
span's not
Yeah.
bad, right.
So we just let them play, and then we have music playing too. So they danced and playing. And then me or Wendy, we do bubbles every so often too, because they like the bubbles. So.
Sure. Okay. So nothing happened while Wendy was gone. Now 10 o'clock, she comes back. You guys do your lesson plans, and then what?
We play with kids.
Okay.
We do check the charts for diapers and see who needs diapers.
Okay.
Because we change diapers every 2 hours.
Okay. Do you recall anything at that point? Ben acting unusual or anything like that?
He was happy. He was.
When you say happy, how old is he? 16?
15 months.
Okay. When you say he's happy, what do you mean?
He was just had a big smile on his face. He would play a lot. He would play with his sister, and he was just like.
Ben had a twin sister who was also enrolled in the same daycare, and she showed no signs of any injuries or distress during the incident.
Cleaning and doing all that and going through everything.
Okay, so you're prepping for an inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the kids were asleep still?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you guys stay in the room, obviously?
Oh, yeah.
You're saying you didn't leave that entire time?
No.
Okay.
And then another, Nancy came back in to break me on my lunch. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. It was my usual break, but she came at 1 o'clock today, or that day.
So Nancy came in at 1 to relieve you?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you went to lunch, and it was Nancy and
Gwendy, but I actually punched out, and then I went back into my room. And usually we're allowed to do that. Sometimes because of the weather, we have a small lounge, so it's not big enough for everyone to eat. So there's 3 of us in the room, and I was kind of also a little bit helping them out.
How long were you out of the room?
Not even 5 minutes. I just went to punch out and then.
Kalusinski's colleagues verified that she was hardly ever away from the room for any extended period.
Ben's not in the crib, though, right?
No, he was on a cot.
Okay, and his twin sister?
She was on a cot.
Okay.
They were almost like right next to each other.
Okay.
So, but we would start changing their diapers as soon as they started waking up.
Okay, and that's what happened Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Around 2:30, okay.
And all the kids sleep.
Yeah.
None of them like stayed up or cried or you don't remember anything like that.
Usually they sometimes wake up, but some of them have binkies. So, and then they drop it from the mouth, and what we'll do,
Just to
we'll
get
go
back
over
to him.
there and gently, like, help them find it, and then they go back to sleep.
Okay, all right. So now they're off. Now what?
We just turn on the lights if they're all up, and as long as the cots are all put away, we put everything away, put everything up, finish changing diapers, put up the blinds, turn the lights, and then we play some music, but other music instead of nap music.
And when did what was that about?
2:40, like 3 o'clock, between 2:40 and 3.
Okay, all right.
And
Nothing unusual to that point? Okay.
and then after that, they were playing again. We let them play.
Throughout this period, Ben displayed no apparent indications or signs of injuries or discomfort.
I get some more help, he's starting to, I see foam and just stuff coming through his nose.
And who are you saying that to?
To Beth.
Beth,
Yeah,
okay.
and Crystal Stucker, she picked up Ben immediately. We both reacted like within a second. And that's when Crystal was like, Beth, can you come in here? I need your help. And I was trying to get the kids.
Who said that?
Crystal.
Was she still in the room with Ben?
Yeah, she had Ben
In the room?
in the room.
And you were in there too?
Yeah.
Okay, and then she says, she yells, or what does she do?
Beth was right there too, coming.
Okay, so Beth was in the hallway, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Could
then-
Crystal see Beth from where she was at? No.
Well, she was like right there around the corner. She stuck her head up because the door was a little bit open.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when, as soon as she said that, I came running in the room.
Okay.
I got all the kids away from there immediately. She had Ben put him on the changing table, and then immediately did CPR right before Beth could even get on the phone and did 911.
Okay.
Efforts were made to perform CPR, yet unfortunately, Ben could not be revived.
His eyes open, and that was responding.
And then what?
And then like a second later, he like closed his eyes, and I'm just like, Ben, wake up, you know.
How far away were you from him at that time?
I would say from like here to like probably half of the door, like in the first corner.
Yeah. And then you said, Ben, wake up.
Yeah.
And what happened?
He didn't wake up, and that's when.
Did you go over? What did you do?
I checked him and everything and tried to see if he would respond, and then Crystal heard me.
Were you screaming for him to wake up? Or?
No, I was kind of like raising my, not yelling, but trying to like maybe see if he would hear me.
Did you shake him to see if
A little bit,
like
yeah.
Okay. When did you see you said you saw some stuff coming out of his mouth or his nose?
No.
When did you see that?
When I got on the phone and Crystal picked him up. That's when I got on the phone and told Beth to come, and Crystal even said that.
How far away were you? How far is the phone from where he was at?
From where I was at?
He's still in his chair, right?
Yeah.
And
then
the
I was
phone,
over
where's
there.
the phone?
It was like close to like,
How far is that?
I don't even know. It wasn't that far down.
Okay.
Like,
And Crystal was already in the room? Okay. And you could see stuff coming from his nose and his mouth?
not from the mouth, but the nose.
Just the nose. What did you see coming from his nose?
Like an orange red foam.
Yeah.
And then after that, when she was doing the mouth picture and everything, that's when the vomit was coming.
Okay.
And Monday though, he was sick. He didn't have a temperature.
When was that?
Monday.
Monday?
And we noticed me and Wendy, as soon as we got him up from that, he was clean. He was white and pale, and he was coughing. He didn't touch any of the snacks. He had pretzels, cheese, and juice. He didn't touch it, and Sandy and Beth were in there too on Monday, and they noticed that he didn't touch it, so I gave him oyster crackers. But before that, he spit up a little bit like liquidy, like just liquid, clear. And took his temperature, it was normal. Waited a little while, and it was still normal. It was like a 99 point something.
In later years, there arose suspicion that Ben might have had an internal medical condition.
I was probably by myself for like at least like almost half a minute.
And that's when
Everything started happening. It was like around like
you were by
4.
yourself because Nancy,
She went to the kitchen real quick to drop the dishes.
to drop the dishes or to clean toys?
No, drop the dishes off.
Okay.
To get sanitized.
And what time was that about?
It was about like 4.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
everything happened. And when it was like 4, not even 4:05, not even close to that. That's when I went over and like said, Ben, stay awake. And like I was like, Ben, he didn't respond to me the other time that I went to him. So that's when Crystal heard me outside from the door, and the door wasn't even shut that much all the way. And then she came in.
What's Crystal's assignment? I mean, what does she do at that time?
She was, I think she was relieving teachers actually,
Okay.
because she does all sorts of stuff there.
Mhm.
She's like all over. She's a floater. And then she's like, Ben, and that's when I got told that we need more help.
A noteworthy aspect that hasn't been raised is the proximity of one of Kalusinski's colleagues to the room. If Ben had cried out, or if Kalusinski had shown signs of losing her temper, the colleague within earshot would likely have heard something, including Kalusinski's attempts to wake Ben.
Well, part of what we do, Melissa, is we're with the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force, and we investigate homicides. That's pretty much all we do. So every homicide that occurs in the county of Lake County, they call us, and we take this over. okay? We investigate the incident, and our success rate is pretty high because this is all we do, and this is what we're trained for. And we have a medical staff on our team, professional people that are certified to deal with children, adults, medical examiners, FBI, evidence technicians. We have a huge team, okay? The reason that we were called in this incident is because Ben's skull was fractured, okay? We're sure that somebody did this to him, or it's a medical certainty that somebody's done this to him. What we need to know right now is if this was done by accident or did somebody intentionally hurt him.
Yeah, I would never put my hands on it, ever. I've never put my hand on the child, ever. I've never taken my eyes off of those kids.
Because there's one thing to hurt someone intentionally, to grab them and throw them up against the wall or swing them into the wall where they would hit their head. But it's another thing if someone dropped them or if they just try to discipline them and got out of control. But we need to get to the bottom of this because this could be a real serious thing.
The detectives aimed to unsettle Kalasinski, hoping to provoke a reaction. Their existing belief is that she might have been involved in causing harm to the child, and their main uncertainty revolves around whether it was intentional or accidental.
This wound that he had on his head is something, medical certainty, that would have happened right away when he started going into unconsciousness.
Something that couldn't have happened before he got to school that morning. It's something that happened while he was there. Sean's trying to tell you that, and you know what, medical evidence, it just doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Okay? That we're certain, based on, and when he says medical examiner, it means a coroner. They did an autopsy on Ben.
Yeah.
And there's definite medical scientific evidence, substantial. I mean, it's just not something like a tiny bruise. We're talking a skull fracture, and a child's skull fracture is far different than even an adult. Because a child's skull, depending on the age, and I think he's 16 months old, is soft, not fully developed. So for a skull fracture to occur, it would have to be a substantial blow, and not just a tap. Now, that's not saying that couldn't have been done accidentally, with a fall or something. Those situations do happen because there could be pre-existing conditions, other medical issues that we don't know about. But one thing we are certain about is that while he was in the care of the facility, this is when this happened, okay?
During Kalasinski's trial, the prosecution heavily relied on X-rays as crucial evidence. However, years later, it came to light that the defense team hadn't been granted access to these X-rays. Upon re-examination, it was found that there was no sign of a fracture as initially claimed, and it was discovered that Ben's head exhibited an abnormal shape.
I also, and the reason we talk to you a lot and ask you all these questions about you as an individual and sit here and spend a great deal of time with you is that we deal with pretty evil people. We deal with murderers. That's what we do for a living. So we can recognize evil people, we can recognize good people, okay? Somebody who's in the child care industry, very rarely are they going to be in there for malicious or evil purposes. They're there to do what? Take care of children and do good, and be what's called a caretaker, right? Definitely based, and that's why I was asking you kind of about your work history. This is something that's part of your career. You obviously are not an evil person. I can tell that. I mean, I can tell that the minute, in our job, we have to, for our own safety, and just because it's the nature of our job, we have to do what's called immediate assessments of individuals. Because we only have a second to react sometimes, right? When we look at somebody like you, and that's what Sean and I have been having a couple of discussions, here's a person that, under bad circumstances, bad timing, wrong place, wrong time, maybe indirectly have knowledge of something, but is compelled not to because they're scared. And I know, this is big. I mean, it really is. It's a 16-month-old baby. And this is somebody's child. This is somebody who won't have a future. These are parents that will never see this child grow again. And in this situation, these are parents that are going to watch a twin sibling grow. And that alone is going to be painful because they're actually going to watch the twin of the child who's now dead grow up not knowing what that child's future would hold or anything. You know, so not that we take anything less seriously, but you know, a child's death or any injury to a child goes right to the top of the list, okay? Our job here isn't to condemn. Our job here isn't to judge. Our job here is just to find out the facts, put the situation to rest, give the parents some closure, and just put this off to the side. There are situations where evil people do evil things. You know that. Serial killers out there. You were a victim of sexual assault. So you understand personally, on a personal level, what intent and evil is. There are other people that, under bad circumstances, get into situations where they don't have any choice because of the circumstances. You pull out of your parking lot to go home, suddenly somebody blows a red light, you hit them, somebody in the car dies. Does that make you an evil person? No, you're a person of circumstance.
The detectives initially adopt an approach that appears sympathetic to make Kalasinski feel at ease. They understand that individuals are often more willing to share information if they perceive they won't be entirely blamed or held accountable for their actions.
A situation like this, we know, and this is why we're talking to everybody, that there's more to this than just suddenly somebody being lethargic and sleeping. We know that, okay? We're giving everybody who has knowledge of this an opportunity to tell us. Obviously, this is highly important because they don't call us in just on minor cases, it's major cases. Okay, we're very good at what we do. Very good. You know, and I'm not going to give you our resumes, but some of the most infamous murder cases in this county have been solved by us. Homicide is a fairly general term. What that means is that the death of the child was not caused by natural reasons. It was caused by something unnatural. So don't let that term eat away at you. All that means is that he didn't die of a heart attack or a pre-existing medical condition, that there were some unusual circumstances. And in this case, there is an unusual circumstance. I'm going to tell you that Sean and I both firmly believe, again, that just looking at you, and again, it's our job to read people. We do it for a living. That there's definitely things that you want to tell us that for whatever reason, in a lot of these cases we find out it's a little bit of guilt, a lot of anxiety, because you don't know what the right thing is. You got to think back to before you maybe were even an adult, and the right thing was always to tell the truth. And the more you don't tell the truth, the further into that story starts getting more and more and more out of control until it's at a point where we can't control it anymore. All right? And then there's discrepancies in what you say, what they say, what you said, what actually happened. So the more this goes on, and the more the longer period of time that we don't uncover the truth, the worse it is for everybody, including you.
I would like to know.
Well, we want to know exactly what happened here. And we need to know from you what you know about this beyond what you told us. And I can tell you, and please, don't mistake, don't make a mistake and not tell us the truth. Because we're very close scientifically of putting pieces together. We need you to finalize that piece for us and tell us exactly what happened. And you're a good person. Reach down inside yourself and help this family. For crying out loud, it's a baby who didn't have a chance. We need to bring some closure to this and figure out what happened here. What happened?
I don't even know. We were doing CPR and
Melissa, the whole thing is when you talk about a certain crime or anything, it's a big word that comes up in court is intent. If someone intended on, if I go up and shoot George in the head, I intentionally, probably try and kill him, because it would be pretty obvious that that would lead to his death. So in that case, I would be in trouble with the court. So most of the laws, if something happens on intent, then there's everyday accidents. People get in accidents every day, like in cars, and there's a car accident, and the result is somebody dies, but the person who gets into an accident with them doesn't get in trouble. You've heard that before, right? So that's what the law is about. The law is all about if someone intentionally tried to do something to somebody.
On purpose, maliciously.
Kalosinski is beginning to sense that the detectives are insinuating her responsibility for Ben's death, causing her to grow increasingly cautious and hesitant in her responses.
We think in this situation, I know somebody caused the action for Ben's skull to get fractured. What we need to know is we don't think somebody intended on hurting him. We don't think someone intended on killing him. We think that something happened. We know that something happened that caused this injury to him.
Something that perhaps got a little out of control or a misstep somehow. It wasn't like somebody woke up Wednesday morning and said, I'm going to drive the Mini Subi and I'm going to kill Ben.
Yeah.
We don't believe that's what happened. And I don't believe you believe that.
No.
But we also believe that you know a lot more than you're telling us. And please, for your own sake.
I swear, there was no problem. Like, me and Gwendy, we never, the mom even said, though, he does throw his fits, and he has a tantrum fits, and sometimes he'll throw himself on the ground and have a fit.
We know from this injury, we know for a fact that this injury could not have happened from him just merely falling from a standing position. That could not happen. It's already scientifically ruled out by the coroner. You watch CSI and stuff, we can tell how many pounds per square inch caused an injury. We can tell everything. So we know, we're certain that this did not happen from him just casually falling or throwing himself on the ground. We also know, when I say medical examiner, they're called pathologists, but a lot of people know what medical examiner means. The medical examiner informed us that the onset of this injury that caused him to pass away happened relatively quick when he went to an unconscious state, because that's what caused him all of a sudden to go to sleep, like you said. We need to know what happened to put him in that position. We know that he just didn't fall on the ground. Because of where the injury is on him. It couldn't happen, and because of the force, he can't generate enough force to do that. And I want you to understand, Melissa, is accidents happen every single day. We will never be finished with this case, ever, until we get to the bottom of this. It's never going to go away. We need to get it out there. Don't be scared to tell us the truth, because the truth is what helps people. But when people hide something, it makes them look guilty of something. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No,
You got to come clean, because I have a good idea that you've seen what happened, or you were involved with what happened, because you were the only one in the room at the onset of this.
Well, before everything happened, he crawled and went into his chair, and I didn't touch any of when he was at the time too, when he fell asleep, when he was being unresponsive, I only took his arm and I went like this a little bit. I didn't touch his head, nothing.
Yeah.
And
prior to that, though, when he went unresponsive,
he was laying back on the chair, and that was when he was unresponsive. Nobody touched him at all. The kids, before he was unresponsive and everything, and after the kids left, his sister and a little boy was with them, and they were giggling, laughing, and I was watching them.
A lot of the stuff that you say, stuff like that, that lets us know, because what ended up happening when you have a fractured skull, you end up dying from basically your brain shuts down your body because your brain swells up. Something along that lines. I'm not a doctor, but just to explain it in layman's terms, We know for a fact, and it's a medical fact, that he would not have been able to eat his lunch. He wouldn't have been able to take his nap. He wouldn't be able to be giggling. So all this stuff had to happen right away when he went unconscious. So that's why we know it happened in that room at that time.
What do you think should happen to somebody who murders a child?
I really wouldn't know, like,
Well, let me ask you, on the other hand, what do you think should happen to somebody who accidentally causes someone to die?
well, if it was like an accidental, like,
If it's an accident, they didn't mean for them
Yeah.
to die.
Right.
like
So
really, it was like an accident.
there wasn't any, like Sean was saying, there wasn't
Yeah.
any intent, there wasn't any plan. Right? And that's what we firmly believe, that this wasn't intentional. We've investigated a number of these types of cases where not only caretakers but parents get out of hand, or inadvertently something happens, and they go into this denial mode because it's a traumatic thing.
Yeah.
It's a traumatic thing for everybody. It's
And-
very traumatic. It's a lot of guilt to live with for the rest of your life. It really is. And Sean is pointing out to you that we're not going to just let this lie. And we firmly do believe that you either saw or somehow were connected to this injury. We really, really believe that. And we're trying to give you the opportunity to tell us.
I don't even know, though.
Kalasinski's initial error was neglecting to request a lawyer before the interrogation. Her next mistake was failing to ask for legal representation as soon as she recognized the investigators were determined to pin the blame on her.
A lot of people, they talk when something like this happens, they talk to the police and they try to put up walls to distance themselves. But in the reality, it's hurting them because it would make somebody look more guilty that they intended on hurting this person.
I had nothing to do with it.
I don't think that you intended on hurting him.
I never put my hands on him after.
No. But we need to know what happened to Ben that day. Because he's a 16-month baby, Melissa. And I don't think you're definitely not a mean person, but I have a son, and I swear to God, so many times I accidentally hit his head on stuff. Every time I walk through a frickin' door, I swear to God, I hit his head. He falls down all the time. My baby's 8 months old, so I know he hits his head back, hits a chair. There's always accidents. It doesn't make me a bad person at all. And if someone was supervising or accidentally hit his head with something, it's not going to make you a bad person, but we need to get to the bottom of this. It happens all.
I'm like trying to, but like the only person that was with me at the time before all this was Nancy, so you would probably get to talk to her more.
Well, someone's talking to her right now.
Yeah, but I never every time I would change his diaper,
Yeah.
I like treat his head, make sure he doesn't hit
Sure.
the changing table.
Right.
So
And we know you're a good employee. We know there's never been no incidents with you in
I
the
never
past
had no
or complaints.
nothing.
So we're not saying that you're the type of person that would do this, but we need to know what happened to him. We really do. And I promise you that the truth is the best thing in this situation. You're a good person. I can tell that. If you weren't a good person, I wouldn't even want to talk to you because we have so much medical evidence in this case. But what I'm saying is, it happens every day. When you're dealing with kids, they're just rambunctious, they jump around, they're hard to control. And believe me, it's very hard for me just taking care of one kid, not alone 8 kids or
Yeah.
whatever by yourself. You shouldn't have probably been by yourself. And I know it could be very stressful. But we have to let the parents know. We have to put some closure. We have to get to the bottom of this. If something happened, please let us know. Did you hit his head by accident with something?
No, nothing.
There's no.
Did somebody else hit his head with something?
You would probably maybe talk to Nancy sometimes because sometimes when she would pick him up, sometimes and then put him on a chair or something, his head would hit the back of the chair. So that's the
This
only
is something
thing.
though that would have happened because of what the medical examiner told us, is this something that on the onset of this injury, that's when he would have lost consciousness, which is when you were in the room. So it couldn't have been something that happened hours before, because this kind of injury to his head, he wouldn't have been able to function, and that's why he went into unconsciousness. And from what you were telling us, you were in the room for at least 10 minutes before this happened.
And he was crawling and everything. He didn't run into anything. I swear. I was watching him and everything.
Did you ever, because I know as a parent and, you know, as being a policeman, I encounter a lot of people that sometimes they lose control with the kid and they give them a little smack in the head. The thing is we know that this thing like this wasn't a little smack. That's why we're thinking, like, you know, could have been an accident. Someone could have dropped him. Someone could have hit him head on the wall. Not saying intentionally try to do it, but that's what could have happened probably to cause this type of injury. And that's what we're looking for. And this would have had to happen right away. You said you were with them for over 10 minutes before this happened. You would have been pretty much going into unconsciousness within 10 minutes of this happening. I don't know if someone walked in and you're covering for someone that you're not telling us.
I don't know. It was me and Nancy. You probably have to talk to Nancy, I swear.
But you know, when was your sister in there before you were calling for help at all, Crystal? She wasn't?
Like when I called, when she came in, and then she put Ben on the changing table.
Was she in there prior to that incident when you called for help, when you said Ben, when you were screaming? Was your sister in the room?
No, she wasn't in. No, yeah.
Would your sister hurt any of the kids there?
No, she has a son of her own.
Right. Okay. Would you cover up for your sister if she did hurt somebody?
No.
Okay. Even if it was an accident?
If it was an accident.
You would probably want to tell the truth so she wouldn't get in trouble, right? And if you think like a logical person, which I know you do because you're very intelligent, we've been speaking to you. If someone like me, for instance, is watching a kid trying to take care of a kid, and I accidentally don't intend on the kid to die or get hurt, but something happens to the kids, it would be a logical person would probably think that maybe that person shouldn't get into that much trouble because they didn't intend on that to happen.
The detectives stubbornly insinuate that if Kalasinski admits to accidentally causing harm to Ben, the consequences might be less severe. However, in reality, the moment she admits to any such action, they would likely intensify their efforts to force her into admitting it was intentional.
Is that a fair assumption? Yes. So, I don't want you to put up walls around yourself and try to, because you're scared, not tell us the truth, because in the long run it'll only hurt you, because it'll make it look like you're involved. But if it was an accident, she would have came out and told us right away, because we know, because you know she's an intelligent person. She would have said, you know what, this is what happened. But she didn't say nothing right away, right at the beginning when this happened, because you got scared. But when we went and talked to her, she came clean. She told us the truth. She told us she got scared at the time. She didn't know what to do. She's never been in a situation like this. And she told the detectives what happened. That's all.
I can't even imagine how he hit his head or who hit his head. Like, because, I mean, it's hard to, like, you know, I had my eyes on everybody, and he was in a wide open space, and I never, like, didn't do anything to him towards his head, nothing. But like I said, Nancy was in there. Maybe Nancy probably accidentally did something.
Okay. And that's what we're getting to, all right?
Yeah.
If Nancy did something, and you have knowledge of that, you're helping us, you're helping yourself, that's phenomenal. But if you're being reluctant in saying something about Nancy, then you really are accepting part of the responsibility. That's what the perception is going to be. So if Nancy did something inadvertently, and you feel that maybe a little guilty about not reporting it right away or not taking some kind of action, don't. You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor. You don't have x-ray vision. Kids fall or kids hit their heads 1,000 times. You know, I've got 2 kids, and the first one we treated like a China doll because we thought she would break. The second one would take tumbles all the time and and as you have more kids, you sort of grow immune and used to those types of injuries. If you saw something, and I'm starting to believe that maybe you did see something and you didn't take immediate action, that's not on you. You're not a doctor. But you need to tell us what you saw. And if it was Nancy, then we need to know that. That's very important. You're helping us. You're assisting us. That's going to benefit you, not just right now, but it's going to benefit you with your career and everything else that you came forward. You're a scared young lady. You've got 2 detectives. You're in a place where you don't know what's what. I would be reluctant to say things too. But you got to trust us. We're not here to condemn you. We're not here to put you in jail. We're here to come to the conclusions of what happened to a 16-month-old child. And if you have knowledge of that, you need to tell us. You need to tell us. You need to accept the fact that another person did this, and that's fine. But don't just speculate. You were there. You saw what happened. What happened? What happened?
Sometimes.
Not sometimes.
I know.
What happened yesterday or Wednesday? What happened Wednesday? What happened? You know something happened. You know something bad happened. You know something real bad, and you probably stood there going, I wonder if that's as bad as it looks.
With Nancy, like, sometimes, like, when she handles, like, when Ben usually cries, I'm saying this, she probably did it, like,
Not probably. We need exactly.
My back was turned, so she...
What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. It was just...
So where are you recalling
Nancy,
a moment when your back was turned?
When, if Ben was crying, because I don't remember much, I'm still in shock. Like,
Right. Listen, I know you are, okay? Even worse than not telling the truth is half-truths, okay? It's half-truths. You know, you've got over this. Look, you're an adult, and you're a smart person. You're not stupid. You don't have memory loss. You're not in medical shock, okay? What you are is in denial, and you're thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to accept that this is happening. I don't want to accept that he's dead. I don't want to be anywhere. If you had a choice right now, you'd be as far away from us as possible in this whole situation. If you had a choice, you wouldn't have come into work Wednesday. You wouldn't have been there. But you know what? You were there. You were a victim of circumstance, right? So don't be an offender. You know what an offender is? That's a bad guy. Be a witness. Be a witness. And you know clearly and sharply in your mind, and no one is blaming you for not taking some action, okay? No one is blaming you.
Once offering Kalasinski an opportunity to confess, the detectives shift their interrogation tactics to include elements of shame and intimidation, applying pressure through different angles in their questioning approach.
But we need to find out exactly what happened, and we completely believe that you know what happened. And if it is Nancy, okay, in great detail, not my back was half turned, not I didn't see it and hear it and smell, but in great detail, you need to tell us this, and we need to put this to rest. We need to all go home tonight and have this entire situation put to rest.
Behind us.
Okay, we need to finish this today. We don't need you walking around a week from now, 2 weeks from now, looking doubt, no closure. We don't need that. You don't need that. You can't possibly, and I'm a lot older than you, you cannot carry that burden of guilt. You can't do that. So you've got to tell us what you saw in great detail. Not possibly, not probably, because you know 100% we know what happened, but we need you to tell us. Tell us what happened.
Before everything happened, I was given a snack. I just used I cleaned them off and everything when they were all done. After I cleaned up Ben's hands and everything, I put them down. and he called. He was fine before all that, and I believe I changed his diapers. When I changed his diapers, like, he didn't hit his head or anything, and like, it's just questionable to me now if when Nancy held him, maybe if he threw a fit and hit like, ran into something to a point where he hit his head hard. Like, cause like I keep saying over and over, I made sure like he was safe.
I'm not doubting that.
I know.
I'm not doubting that. What I'm doubting is that you didn't see Nancy do something to him.
No, but every time she comes in, he cries. He doesn't really like her.
Did you see her do anything?
As far as I know.
Not as far as you know.
Don't protect
I
Nancy.
know I'm not protecting
It's
Nancy, but
Did you ever see her do anything before? Ever?
like,
To a
pick
kid?
him up, no.
Smack a kid?
No, never.
Throw him
She
into a
just,
wall?
no,
Throw him in the crib?
no,
And you didn't see her do anything to this kid?
I swear. I'm just maybe wondering if when she would hold him, that, you know, she'd run into something, or when she would put him down, she didn't put him down nicely or gently to a point where he would
It's
hit
not
his
gonna,
heart.
this
I
injury
don't
isn't
know.
caused from something
No.
like that. It's something either,
Because I'm
it's something either
clueless.
you done or Nancy did, because it was something that just happened then, and it's something that couldn't be done without someone else noticing, because it had to be done with a considerable amount of force.
I'm seriously bringing back and thinking back then
Right.
of Wednesday. I know for a fact that I did not do anything. I did not see anything with my own eyes for him to even have a fractured skull like that. Because when I first found out that I had maybe something to do with it,
When did you find that out?
yesterday from the DCFS, I had a note that me and then the other person
When did you talk to DCFS?
yesterday.
They called you
No, they came and interviewed me
at your office?
in the lounge.
Okay.
And at the time, I told him, I was just like, and I read it, I was like, and I told my boss, I pulled her into the office and I told her, I'm like, you know, how come my sister didn't get this or whatever, because she did CPR. And at the same time CPR was going on, I pushed all the kids out. Maybe I told her, I'm like, I'm clueless. Why did I get this? Why am I? Seems like I did something wrong.
What did it say?
That I was someone called DCFS on me.
Kalusinski's desperation is escalating. She's now inclined to suggest her coworker's potential involvement indirectly and feels upset that her sister hasn't been subjected to a similar level of scrutiny or questioning.
Like saying that it could have been my fault for a fracture. Like he didn't specify what happened.
Let me tell you right away, that's just something they have to do because it's a child care facility.
I understand
Okay,
that.
number two, if you lied to them, for whatever reason, just say you did, it doesn't matter one iota. Now's the time to come clean.
Yeah,
We're the law.
Yeah, we
don't give a
share.
We don't give a shit what you told them.
I understand.
It's never
and
going to make you look bad. You might have been a little confused and shaken up yesterday. So whatever you told them, I don't want it to in any way affect what you're going to tell us. Don't try to be consistent
No,
with what you told them.
I am. I'm swearing to you. I am not lying. I am swearing on my aunt's grave and my uncle's that I did not do anything to fracture his skull, and I did not see anything.
Did you go out with anyone from work after work since this incident happened?
No, I
including
went
your
straight
sister?
home. I went straight home.
Did you talk to Nancy after this on the phone?
No, I gave her
outside
my
of work?
number. I gave her my number.
Did she call you?
No, she didn't. I told her to give me a call if she needs to. She never called me.
Okay. Did you ever see Nancy handle the kids roughly?
No, when she would put them down sometimes, she wouldn't support their head sometimes, and she would get a little intimidated and aggravated with the children because they would be crying. I mean, it happens, and yeah, I get aggravated
I
a
get
lot.
aggravated at my own son.
And of course they're gonna cry, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please, where's your binky? But when sometimes she would pick them up, sometimes she would have them as, sometimes not handle a child that very well. And I know she has 2-3 kids. She has a toddler of her own that's in the other bigger room.
It doesn't mean nothing. It
No,
doesn't
I
mean they're
know.
going to be better with kids,
Oh,
or
I
it
know.
could be worse. We deal with people who kill their own kids.
I know. And she would get frustrated.
I get frustrated. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
But, and how she would sometimes pick them up. She wouldn't, support them. She'd just pick them up and, hold them, as they're facing towards you. And, hold them like that.
Was Ben sleeping during his nap hour
Yeah.
when Nancy was there?
Yeah.
Was she mad at him and all that day?
No.
No one was mad at him?
He probably woke up around 2.
Who's the oldest kid in the room? How old?
It would have to be, let's see.
Over
I
3
know.
years old?
No, if they were over 2 years old, they would have been in another room. And we have another set of twins, but they're gone for the month. They're the oldest. They would be the next move over.
If you were involved in this in any way, would you tell us if it was an accident? You understand that
Yes,
we're not
I
out to
would
get you
complain.
and put you in jail. That's not, people think of police and they get scared. We're just out to get the truth of the matter. How about the family with their recovery through this thing and bring this case to a closure? We don't think that you went in there with a baseball bat and hit this kid over the head. We've never said that. Because if you're that type of person, we don't even want to talk to you. We're going to use all of our evidence and try to prove it and put someone like you away. But we don't think you're that type of person. We think this could have been either someone getting real frustrated or an accident. The last thing I want, since you're a good person, I don't want you to cover up for anybody.
I won't.
There's a certain law for covering up. It's called concealment of a homicide. Now, just because it might be called a homicide, like my partner said, that doesn't mean someone intended on killing them. It just means, if someone gets hit by a car, that's actually, a homicide until the coroner has an inquest and they rule it an accidental death. It doesn't mean it's an accident. But there is a charge for someone who intentionally and knowingly lies to detectives during an investigation where it's classified as a possible homicide, and it's not a nice charge. So I would hate to find out later that you're trying to protect your sister or Nancy.
No, I
Because I
yeah.
guarantee you right now that they're talking to detectives, and they're going to know right away who's guilty and who's not.
During the interviews with others, it becomes evident that neither of them was present in the room with Kalasinski when Ben was allegedly injured. Their contributions would likely be limited to confirming whether they had witnessed Kalasinski displaying rough behavior with a child at any point.
I never, ever would cover up for anybody, not even for a death.
If you did something that was an accident, though,
I would say something.
you're smart enough to know that you didn't mean to do it, right? If you lost your temper and maybe cracked someone, would you tell us?
Yeah.
You would? Have you ever thrown a kid against a wall?
No.
Have you ever hit a kid's head against anything? Never?
Never.
Did you ever hit Ben?
No. I've known them since they were really little. And when I first started subbing, in January, I went over there to sub. That's where I first saw them, the twins. They were still babies.
What are the other workers going to say about you, how you handle the kids?
They'll say that I handle them very well. I don't.
Right. Do you get aggravated easy, or do you?
No, not really. I've never seen anything like that ever. And I would definitely come clean and say if I did see anything, I would say something. I would. I don't hide anything. I don't cover up for anybody.
Were you out with your sister Wednesday or Thursday night?
No.
You didn't see her after work?
No. She went home.
So no long conversations on the phone? Nothing?
No. We would find out. She would call, check up on me and see how I was doing because I was scared at the time when she was doing CPR and everything. I left. to go put the other kids in another room when they were still doing CPR still, and that's when the paramedics came. But yeah, I never do anything to those kids, ever. Never put my hand on a kid.
All right, we're going to take a short break again. You need anything? No. Water?
Continuing to withstand the relentless accusations during prolonged police interrogation can be incredibly challenging. However, maintaining consistency in her story might suggest she's sticking to her truth. If there's information she's withholding, it could potentially hint at guilt, but it's also possible she's genuinely innocent and frightened, as she asserts. The sheer persistence of the interrogation could be a tactic to wear her down, but her refusal to alter her account might indicate a belief in her innocence or a fear of admitting to something she didn't do. The key factor lies in uncovering whether there's any hidden information that, once revealed, could shed light on her innocence or potential involvement. Remember, it's your curiosity that fuels this channel. Keep exploring, stay inspired, and join us for more amazing content next time.